What is deep learning? Have you ever wondered how your phone gallery groups all the images and videos based on their location in just a matter of seconds? Or how a ton of data is processed in almost no time? If yes, then the secret behind it all is a product of deep learning. But what exactly is deep learning? Deep learning is a subset of machine learning, which is in turn is a subset of artificial intelligence, which is a bigger concept in all three. But before diving deep into the deep learning process and its aspects, let us first take a look at what is artificial intelligence, what is machine learning, what are the limitations of machine learning, what gave rise to deep learning, what is deep learning, what are the applications of deep learning, what are the disadvantages of deep learning. Let's begin with artificial intelligence. Before learning what artificial intelligence is, it is more important to understand why we need artificial intelligence. Let's look at a real life example. Nowadays, the moment you break a traffic rule or exceed the speed limit, you get a notification on your mobile phone stating the offense and the fine amount. What do you think? How does it work? Surely it isn't humanly possible to make note of every traffic offense when there are hundreds of cars passing by. Is it even possible to do so where there are millions of cars passing every minute? To solve this problem, there are cameras installed everywhere to capture the number of plates of vehicles exceeding the recommended speed limit. The data is then converted into a text format. This example ties up the concept of artificial intelligence. Apart from this one example, there are multiple areas where this concept is applied. Do you know, few people at MIT uses artificial intelligence to predict the future. We are not making this up, and that should give you an understanding of the power of artificial intelligence. Now, let us move forward and understand artificial intelligence by its definition. Artificial intelligence is a technique that simulates human intelligence in the machine and enables the machine to mimic or imitate human actions and behavior. To keep it simple for you guys, our major goal is to have a system and software that can imitate human behavior. Everything that human brains thinks, learns and solve. If you are curious to know how these concepts emerged in the commercial space, do not skip this video and keep on learning with us. To achieve artificial intelligence, there were many technologies introduced, and the first one was machine learning, which we will discuss later in this video. Though machine learning was highly appreciated, there were certain limitations of machine learning that further led to the evolution of deep learning. While the concept of artificial intelligence is not new, it was not given due importance. It was first seen in textbooks in 1856, and years down the line in the 2000s, artificial intelligence and machine learning came to use. The term deep learning was first introduced to the world in 2006, and it brought a revolution. Before understanding deep learning, we first need to look at the machine learning and its limitations. What is machine learning? We all know humans learn from their past experiences and machines follow what human says. But what if we flip the coin and humans train machines to learn from their experiences? For example, if you have detailed data of, let's say, flowers, the machine will recognize what flower it is just by looking and understanding the data. So with the given data, you train your machine to predict a final and reliable outcome. But that's not all. There is a lot that goes into it. We'll discuss that some other day, as today it is all about deep learning. Let us first understand how deep learning came on board when we already had machine learning. What were the needs or limitations of machine learning that further led to the evolution of deep learning? Limitations of machine learning. High dimensional data. So the number one limitation of machine learning is the high dimensionality of data. Today we have high dimensional data, or let's say data that is generated at a considerable size or number. In such a case, the machine learning model fails, as this technology can't cope with the high dimensionality of the data. Crucial AI problems. Another drawback of machine learning is it is unable to solve the crucial AI problems which include image recognition or natural language processing. Feature extraction. Another major drawback of machine learning models is the feature extraction. In this case, complex problems such as object recognition and handwriting recognition becomes a challenge for machine learning algorithms. Once we have discussed the problem that emerges with machine learning, it won't be fair if I don't tell the solution for these. So let's move forward and understand how deep learning minimized and eliminated these situations. With just a little guidance, the deep learning algorithm can generate features on which the outcome will depend. Also, it effectively solves the limitations of machine learning, such as the dimensionality problem or crucial AI problems. By now, you may have got a good idea of what deep learning is, but to make things crystal clear, let me explain this in more detail. Till now, we have studied artificial intelligence and the subset of it, that is machine learning. Since we already know artificial learning is nothing but to mimic human behavior, in the same way, deep learning is in turn subset of machine learning. The idea is the same, to imitate human behavior. Let us understand what deep learning is. Deep learning is a type of machine learning whose functioning is highly inspired by the human brain. In the context of deep learning, this brain-like structure is known as the artificial neural network. Let us understand in detail how deep learning is better than machine learning and how its disadvantages become the advantage of deep learning. To make things more precise, we decide to create a machine that will tell you the difference between tomato and apple. So let us understand this together. If you are using machine learning, you will explain certain features about both so that it can differentiate between the two. These features can be the size, color, or the type of stem of both the data. However, with deep learning, the process is much easier as the features are easy to pick out by the neural network, like the human brain. Here, there will be lesser human interference and the machine will carry out the task with utmost efficiency. However, this type of independence comes with a large volume of data. Let us understand the neural network in detail. The basic idea behind the neural network is nothing but neurons. Now, you must be wondering if we are referring to the neurons that are related to human brain. Yes, you are right. These neurons are the brain cells that are responsible for transmitting multiple pieces of information between different areas of the brain and the nervous system. Neurons have multiple dendrites that are used to provide input to the neuron. As there are many dendrites, the same number of input will be provided. Once the output is ready, it travels down toward the next neuron. Artificial neural network is similar to neurons. We have multiple inputs that are transferred from various dendrites as in human brain. These inputs are provided to the processing element same as the cell body, and later the summation of input until it generates a function of S. Once it's done, next comes the concept of activation function. Now, what exactly is the activation function? If the output is above the threshold, only then will the neuron fire as it fires in the actual neurons. Otherwise, it won't fire. Once the neuron is fired, it will ultimately check the final output. If by any chance the output is not same as the desired output, we will compare the outcomes and find out the difference between them. Based on that difference, We will update our weights and the process will keep repeating until the final output and the desired output are the same. This process of matching the actual and desired outcome is called the backpropagation method. Now, let's learn what deep networks are. Deep networks are nothing but neural networks with multiple hidden layers. There are numerous hidden nodes in the neural network that are interconnected. After that, there is one more hidden layer node where some function happens and it is further connected to the output layer where the final output is checked if it's equal to the desired output or not. If not, then the process is repeated by changing the weights. Where is the concept of deep learning applied? Number 1, customer support services. While engaging with customer support, have you ever wondered how a bot handles the conversation so well? This is because the conversion seems so real that the customer don't even realize with whom they are talking and continue to go on with their problems. Number 2, medical care. Another area where the neural network is deeply applied is in the medical area, where the neural network detects cancer cells to give detailed and confirmed result of MRI. Number 3, self-driving cars. Before the 2000s, have you ever thought there would be anything like self-driving cars? Well, it is a gift of the neural network to humans, especially to the ones who cannot drive. It almost seems like a science fiction comes to life. Number 4, automatic language translation. With automatic language translation, we can convert any language, say Spanish to English and Hindi into German in just a few seconds or even less. To be honest, these are just a few examples I have quoted. There are several examples of deep learning that we use in everyday life and don't even realize. Some of the world's leading companies, including Apple, Tesla, and Nissan, are highly influenced by the concept of deep learning and use it extensively. Though it offers a series of advantages, deep learning also has certain pitfalls that cannot be ignored or overlooked. Let's move forward and discuss the few limitations of deep learning in details. The first and the foremost disadvantages of deep learning is the data. It has been proven that deep learning is the most efficient measure to build unstructured and unorganized data. However, the neural network always requires a huge amount of data to process and work upon. That isn't easy to handle by all devices. Another disadvantage of deep learning is it requires a higher level of training in the neural network. Also, the neural network requires weeks and sometimes even months to train. The time increases with the data and the number of layers in the neural network. So, that is the end of the today's session. If you have any queries related to what we have discussed, you can leave your questions in the chat box below and I will come back with the answers for you. Before leaving, let's quickly have an overview of what we have discussed in today's session. We start with artificial intelligence and why we need it. There are certain things that human beings cannot perform as effectively as machine can with little or no guidance. So that's why we need artificial intelligence in our lives. We also discussed what artificial intelligence is and what are its subsets. I told you, machine learning is a subset of deep learning. In contrast, deep learning is in turn a subset of machine learning that was introduced in 2006 to minimize the various limitations of machine learning. We discussed what exactly machine learning is and why it became the reason for deep learning evolution that eliminates the disadvantages of such a high dimensional data, feature, extractions, etc. We also discussed what deep learning is, the neural network and the various applications of deep learning. I'm sure you must have enjoyed this video and now have a definitive idea of deep learning and its applications. To know more about deep learnings or to explore similar videos, stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for timely updates.